Hello everybody and welcome to Kdh Art Class. Today we're going to be working on some paper weaving. So weaving is an over, under technique used to combine two things together. Alright, so I have an example here. I have taken one of my pictures and a blank piece of paper and wove them together to create this really cool looking effect. I wish I used a different color piece of paper, but why, you know, I still think it looks pretty good. I might go in and shadow those areas just to take it next level. Dun dun dun. All right, as you can tell, I'm just getting just a little bit whoop whoop crazy, but that's because I just love doing these art projects. So I'm going to simplify this one. It's not going to quite be as small or intricate as this, but I wanted you to see that yes, you can make your cuts smaller and wavier, and you can still do the same over under technique that we're going to do here to create a more advanced looking paper weaving project. Alright, so I have an old picture that I am willing to sacrifice for this project. Scissors, glue, not necessary, but is helpful with the little ones. I like it because my paper's not going to fall apart. You know, where regular weaving, if you pick it up and give it a little jiggle, some of the pieces might loosen up and fall out. So I like securing it with the glue. Again, glue is optional. Alright, scissors, unless you want to tear the paper, you can tear it. It'll still work with the tearing. Just a little bit more challenging on that sense, making sure that your tears are nice and they go all the way across. You don't say straight, but they go all the way across your paper. But I did do a torn. Of course, this is what I mean by you don't have to glue, but if you don't glue, your papers just seem to start falling apart. So you can just simply tear and get a really neat texture here. I mean, how fun would this background be? I wanted to challenge myself and you know, see what this would look like, but as you can see, my little pieces kept falling out. But it gives you an idea of the over under technique. If you have different color paper, that is also useful and fun. You could even do things where you tear and combine it with the non-torn pieces. Maybe it's a zigzag, and by the time you do the over under with that, you'll start getting some really neat, and like I said, just a little bit more challenging with the tears. More patience is needed, but it can be done. It can be done, just maybe not on video here in front of you because it's just taking forever because my little pieces are getting caught on all the torn edges. But it, like I said, can be done. I did it, showed you it was a hot mess, but so many options. I kind of like that texture. I do want to look into the torn paper further. All right, so the way we're going to do this is, let's clear off our little spots here, is we're going to take two pieces of paper, the same size. They could be the same piece of paper. Draw and color your design on one half of it. I think I've shown you guys when you fold it enough times that you can tear it down the middle, but you got to make sure that when you fold it that you really squish down on it. You can use a smooth part of your scissors. You could use the smooth part of a marker to push down. You can even use like your fingernail, the back side of your fingernail to squish down. Really get a nice tight fold and when you open it up, start very carefully at the top, and it will tear. And believe it or not, this piece has been torn and this piece has been torn. They're just obviously not the same piece of paper. This is this one's partner. But anyways, here we go. I'm going to start with not the picture, but instead with our extra piece. And I chose a different color. Thought that would look cute together. And the pieces, you want to make sure they don't fall off. So in my classroom, I actually have the kids use a ruler, and they use a big piece of paper, and they put it up here on the top, and then they draw out their line. Let's see, because it doesn't really matter. Okay, that's about equal. So they draw out their line, and then I even have them, you know, start by, you know, start at that line, don't go past it, and go down. And honestly, if you're using a full-size piece of paper, I just have them do either side of their ruler, but it'd be kind of fun for them to do different size stripes all the way down. I'll do one that's a little bit thicker, maybe one that's a little thinner. Be careful of the thin ones with the little kids, pre-K and kinder. When they're cutting, they don't always go in a straight line, and they cannot risk in this particular project cutting pieces off. We're just going to keep it simple like that. Ooh, I went a little diagonal there. We'll survive. Give another. Oh, actually, I want my last one to be kind of big. Having the ends be a little bit on the larger side makes life a little bit easier. And I think I'll do one more. And as you can tell from mine, it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. They're kind of wonky. I like that. Of course, then again, I really went wonky on these with wavy lines. Alright, going from there. No, they do not have to use a ruler. Of course, you can use things like the edge, you know, cardboard edges to create their lines. If you have a ruler, great. Use another piece of paper if you don't have that one. So on and so forth. Alright, so now the rule is do not cut this part. Okay, instead, you're going to stay on your line. Scissor safety. Your thumb is up. The pointy part is not pointing at you, it's pointing away. And it's little cuts. And you make sure you stay on the line. If you start getting off the line, stop. Don't keep going. Stop, back it up, get back on your line, keep going. And then when you get to the end, you notice I'm not using the tip, my little cut. Stop, and look, did it fall? No, yours should not fall off either. Be careful when you're doing the big chomps. If you close it 100%, then you might get a little tear going the other way. Mine didn't do that much, just a little bit. I can see it on that line. So I try not to go all the way. Little baby shark bites all the way down the paper. When you get to the end, stop and do your next one. So you're going to keep going on all of your lines. If you finished before me, because you made fewer lines to make it easier for pre-K or kindergartner. Big lines are easier. Skinny lines are a little bit harder. So this is kind of in the middle. This is something I would expect like second grade to do or higher. But when I cut my picture up, yes, I'm going to be cutting my picture up, but don't worry. It's not going to ruin the picture. The picture is just going to take a cool twist and turn in the art world. All right, I have 2 more cuts, or 2 more strips. 1 and 1 more. If I have finished before you, go ahead and press pause. You know the drill. Alright, yes, this is where the kids start going, oh, it's a grass skirt, yay, you know, and they get all excited, they get entertained by it. Some of them put it on their head and call it hair, and just don't tear it up. Alright, the next part is we need to get to our picture. Now, even though the pieces of paper are the same size, by the time you start weaving, there's going to be little spaces in between. So this one's going to be too big. Too big. So I'm going to fold my picture. I can see my flower, so I want to make it smaller so I can't see my flower. And that gives me a nice straight line that I can follow with my scissors. Let's see if I can do this where you can see the fold. Off the top. Now, if you have a lot of room on the bottom, then cut from the bottom. I don't have as much room, and since I like starting from the top, by the time I work down, if I run out of paper, like I did here, I'm just going to use that bottom section to kind of fit in there. So you'll understand later in a minute. Okay. For the little ones, I would recommend about 2 fingers, otherwise you're going to go mildly crazy with this. If your child is one that loves doing tedious little bitty things, you know, you might want to go a little bit smaller. Remember, the older the child, the smaller the cut. These I deliberately did a small, medium, large, medium, small, medium, large, medium, small, medium, large, medium, and I ran out, and so that's the leftover paper. Oh, and like this, I glued that up on top just to tie the 2 ends together a little bit more. Okay, so once you decide how wide you want the paper, you can cut straight lines, which I recommend for the little ones. As you get more advanced, you can make them wavy. So I'm going to go ahead and cut. And of course, you can flip your paper over and draw the lines on the back and cut on the back. But here's my first piece. Now for the weaving. No touching. Pick up the next one. No touching. Pick up the next one. So every other one I'm going to pick up. No touching. Pick up the next one. See how I'm leaving paper behind? So paper, up, paper, this one's up, this one's down, this one's up, this one's down, this one is up, down, up. So I've tried doing so many things, but I've learned this is like the best way that the kids respond. Okay, now you have a mouth that opens and closes. It's time to put the food inside the mouth. So I just put it on top of all of these that are down here. Let go. And now I scoot, 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 all the way up to the top. This is where I use my glue. So I'm going to, on the one end, and I need to make sure it's kind of even on the end, might have to scoot it over. I'm going to add one little drop of glue. Glue sticks are great for this. I can put a little bit of glue stick right there on the end. Ta-da. Okay, now for my next piece. Alright. And I went a little skinnier, but that's okay. Now we have to do the opposite. So I have my picture here. That's the one I'm going to pick up, because my picture's on it. Leave it alone. Is my picture on it? Yes. So I can pick this one up, because the picture's on it. No picture. Oh, there's the picture. Pick it up. So I'm picking up the opposite ones. No. Yes, these are the opposite. These are the ones that were laying down on the ground the first time. No picture. Don't touch it. Pick this one up. Alright, I created my mouth again. It's open and close, open and close. Feed it. Put that piece in there. Drop it down. And scoot, scoot, scoot. Scoot the picture up. There we go. So now my picture's starting to align with the previous one. And you got to make sure you scoot it all the way up where it's touching the other piece of paper. A lot of kids want to leave a big space in between, and I should have picked a darker piece of paper. You can tell by the reflection on this. But we're getting there. Alright, so I'm going to glue this end that happens to be on top. I mean, you could pick this up and just do the one side, but I like alternating it. It kind of holds the whole thing together better. And down it goes. Ah, okay, so now our picture is back in this new spot. So this piece of paper, do you see it on top? Nope, so don't touch it. You see the picture? Yes. So I'm picking up the ones where the pictures are. So that's that one. Yes, there's a picture here, but it went underneath on this one, so don't touch it. There's the picture. Pick it up. So you got to skip one. Skip one. Pick up the next one. Skip one. Pick up the next one. Skip one. Pick up the next one. Oh, of course I did this so wrong. I forgot to cut my piece of paper first. Alright. That means let me grab this paper clip real quick. Sorry guys, I forgot to cut my piece of paper. So chomp, 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 chomp. Now I can feed my mouth. Right. Let it drop, and now it should start to look like a checkerboard. When I push it all the way up, it should look like a checkerboard. This picture's touching this one, but only on the corners. Okay, glue the end. Cut your next piece of paper first. Don't forget that part. We learned that. Then, so the picture's on top, picture's underneath. Picture's on top means I can pick this one up. Skip one. Pick up the next one. See how the picture was on top right there? Skip one. Pick it up. So I'm saying different ways, hoping one of these makes sense to you. Skip it. And pick the next one. Pick the next one up. Skip it. Pick the next one up. So you're going to be changing them each time. Feed the mouth. Drop it down. Scoot, scoot, scoot. Now when they're touching, what's fun is you can actually start seeing the flower again. Couldn't really see it with those first couple pieces. Alright, put glue on this end. We don't want all this hard work to start falling out or moving around. Okay. Cut your next piece. We're getting there. Alright, so picture's on top, picture's underneath. Picture's on top, this one is underneath. So don't touch it. You gotta be with the one where the picture's on top. That's the one we have to do first. Then we could skip one, pick up the next one, skip one, pick up the next one, skip one, pick up the next one, skip one, pick up the next one. Then I'll do this one correct, and then I'll show you one that's wrong. Put it in there, set it down, scoot, scoot, scoot. Make sure my picture's lined up. Got a little aggressive on my pushing there. All the way up to the top so that you can start seeing the picture form. Put the glue on the little corner. And you can see where the smaller ones, you see more of the picture than the big ones. Alright, so let's cut our next piece. And let's do it wrong. Let me show you how not to do it. So my picture's on top, but for some reason the kids like to pick up the same ones. I think it's because it's easier to pick them up. So what's the wrong one? What's the wrong one? And they're like, well, I'm skipping. But you see how this one is here? If I hadn't glued it, it would be falling out. So that's why you can't pick those up. Plus, when I do the same thing, it's going to start sliding underneath it. And we don't want that. So you got to make sure that you only pick up the ones where the picture's on top. The last picture piece is on top. Then you skip the one that went underneath, because you got to do the opposite, and pick it up. Ah, goodness. And don't drop it. Get back up there. There it goes. Put the next piece underneath and start pushing it up. Oh, my goodness, there goes all my doggies. They're letting me know that my husband came home, or as they call him, Daddy. It just sounds like woof woof, but they're really saying Daddy. Alright, if you know what you're doing, you keep going. Otherwise, cut your next piece. The picture's underneath on this one. See how it's underneath it? So leave it alone. Pick up the next one where the picture is, the last picture is on top. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and pick those up. Now my students by now kind of catch on to the fact that I go a little bit faster as I'm going along because I don't need to explain as much. Put the piece in, drop it down, scoot it up, glue the end, and as you glue it as you're going along, it just makes it easier. Cut your next piece. We're almost done. I really regret grabbing this green. I like it, but when I'm looking at the video, it's just not right. Alright, so this last one, it's on top. It's not underneath. That one's underneath. So this one's on top, so I can pick these up. And by now the kids are going, wait a minute, it's getting harder and harder to put those pieces together. Ah, so you're going to have to start figuring out. You can get this last one in. Which one's supposed to be over and which one's supposed to be under. So now they're starting to get all this set up. Now the bottom one, I say they have to pretend like their piece of paper is a worm or a snake that's going over and under. So let me show you what that looks like. So the snake, we know this last one started by going under, so we can't use that one. We have to use this next one. That's the good one. I'm going to start putting my piece of paper down, skip this one, pick up the next one, put it under that one, skip, pick up the next one. Alright, so you see how I'm kind of coming from the side because I'm going to start bending my paper trying to grab it. It's not going to work. Alright, looks like I can do one more. Let's see. I'm going to do a skinny one. And then you have a choice. Alright, so this is on top, so that's the one we can go up. And so it goes the opposite. So it goes under, over this one, under, over that one, under, over that one, under, over. And they'll be able to start looking, and when they accidentally go over, over, they're going to sit there and go, wait, that doesn't look right. It should have a space. So they start finding their own little whoopsies and they fix it. Alright. Push it all the way up. Get in there. Got there. And ta-da. We're done. So I did one last little thing with this piece. You could just glue it right on top, or you can pick these pieces up. See, that's where it's over. Come on. You don't want to behave. Make a bunch of little mouths, and I can put it in there and glue these down on top. And then it's just looks like they're woven together even though they're in different pieces. So this is how I did my last one, just to finish it off. Or like I said, you can just glue it on top to secure it. Whichever way you want to do it. And if you want to sit there and glue this one on top, just to tie it in, I think I'm going to do that to make that pencil line go away. It's all in those little details. Line up my swirls just right. And congratulations, you have woven your artwork together. You could do straight lines, wavy lines. You could even tear it if you don't have the scissors, and weave it together. But again, this was much more challenging, especially since I didn't have the glue and I didn't have the scissors. The little rough edges like to catch on each other, and it made it more challenging. Pretty, I like it. I want to do stuff with it, but more challenging. You see they keep popping out. Alright, have fun weaving. And you can do so many things with weaving, with the yarn, and we can get into that later on. Stay tuned for more videos, and I look forward to doing more art with you in the future. Have fun creating. Bye.